Welcome to the show, and here are your hosts, the diabolical Elite Gaming Guru, the illustrious Red Dead Panda, and the Australian stud AshtreyGaming. So let's get this party started. Shit.
And we are live. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
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 Well, good morning, everybody. We have a special guest with us today. Red Dead Panda couldn't make it. We didn't actually want her on the show because we wanted more time and to hear more from Risk It for the Biscuit. Good morning, Risk It.
How you doing? It is morning. It is very early morning, but I'm excited to be here, guys. How you going? Let's do this.
It's 5 a.m. there for you. It's 8 a.m. for me, and it's about 10 p.m. Friday night for Elite. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. Yep. Yeah.
So you half cut already, Elite, or what?
I'm actually not. I'm just having a can of Pepsi. I've been good. I was on it last night and I got wasted and hungover, so
Interesting. All right. Well,
yeah.
what have you guys been doing this week? Risk It, I'll start with you, man. What have you been playing? What have you been up to? What trouble have you been causing?
I've been on COD. There's another little game I'm going to play as well, though. I've been trying to play it called The Darkest Tales. It's like a teddy bear in like a Grimm's fairy tale type land, side-scrolling adventure game. I've got to play that. It came out just before COD. But then COD dropped, and I haven't really been on anything else. I've 100%ed the achievements that I could do on the campaign, but yeah, I haven't been able to do any of the co-op ones yet. So I'm looking forward to doing that this week.
Nice, man. Nice. Elite, what have you been up to, man? What have you been doing?
I've been playing Scorn, and I'm really enjoying it. I don't know what the hate is about. I think the graphics are fantastic. I think the music and the
ambience,
sort of soundboard, yeah, the ambience of it, it's just incredible. And I can see it's just a puzzle game. People just think, oh, this is dull and that. But I think it's really sort of very atmospheric. And I was wondering, I asked on Twitter, has it got some connection with Alien? Because there seems to be a lot of sort of Alien-esque sort of connections in it. Do you think?
No idea, sir.
I just wondered. I just wondered if they sort of. I've not got to the end of it. So, but I just wondered, it would be great at the end if they sort of it turns out that you're the first ever alien. That's sort of the great, because I don't know how much you've played of it, but yeah, it's so many stuff sort of connecting it to Alien. So
I reckon I've put it down now. I'm probably not going to pick it back up, but I probably got about halfway through it.
I think I'm on chapter 4.
It was good, but it's just too slow for me.
Yeah,
Played the first hour of it, and I was like, nah, I don't know, I can't really. It's not holding me.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
You can walk through. You complete the entire game in 2 hours. There's 2,000 gamers go.
Well, yeah, if you know how to do it, though, right?
Yeah, the walkthroughs on YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
Just use one of them. You can just run through it in 2 hours.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, have you been playing anything other than Scorn?
Yes.
Not with yourself, Elite.
Oh. No, I've been playing Persona 5. Okay. So this is probably going to upset Tryhard fan. I just don't get it. I don't get why it scored so high. I think the game it's basically 80% dialogue, which there's so much dialogue. In fact, it gives you the option to skip it. Sort of just do a fast forward and you just skip the entire story. That's what I've been doing, just skipping through it. I think sort of when you go around the world, it's sort of very janky and looks very dated. It almost looks like PS2 sort of era. In the game, just not enough gameplay, to be honest. Just too much dialogue, too much story. The anime sort of sequences are good when it cuts to cartoon sort of bits, but I just find the story really slow, long-winded. The gameplay very generic and sort of dated as well. And yeah, I just don't get why it scored in the 90s, to be honest. It's just really dated.
Yeah, right.
You guys played it?
No.
Put it on for an hour, and then you'll see what I mean.
I only play good games.
I played it for 2 hours. I've put 2 hours in so far. I'm going to give it probably one more hour, and then. But
yeah, fair enough.
I'm struggling. I don't know what the story is because it's just not
Well, yeah, because you it's not going to capture you if you keep skipping it though.
No, because it's too slow. The dialogue's just too slow, and there's always weird things in it. Like I come across a nutty teacher, crazy teacher that's attacking you, but he's just wearing pants, nothing else, like like Y fronts.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Sounds like a very, very weird game.
it is very weird. It is very weird. Yeah, it is. Yeah, very weird. But it's just. I think there's better games because it's a turn-based. The combat's turn-based, and there are much better turn-based games out there. I just thought this is very basic and generic. So I think it's better turn-based.
I'm not a fan of turn-based games.
No,
it just doesn't feel turn-based. Never feels natural to me. I've never liked it. Never played it, never liked it. But I've been playing some Scorn. I've been playing some Plague's Tale Requiem, which we'll see some gameplay of that later on, and some Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer, which I played some with last night with Dealer and Gaz. So that should come up a bit later on in the show. How about we jump into our first topic, Elite? What do you think?
Do it then. Yes, let's do it. I was reading what what's his face said. Trial fan. Right.
What did he say?
He said it's like buying a visual novel and skipping everything. Yeah, but that's the problem with it. I want to play a game. I don't want to sit and read a novel. You know what I mean? This is my issue with it. No, who plays games to sort of just read and
a lot of people, which is weird. But yeah,
I know. Yeah. Right. So let's go into our first topic. Topic number one. Rumor. Right. Rumor. Black Friday deal. You get a free copy. When you buy an Xbox Series X, you get a free copy of Modern Warfare 2, and that's on sale at Target for $299.99. So this was a tweet by Idle Sloth earlier in the week with screenshots of an apparent catalog deal for Black Friday at Target US, showing a few things, but amongst that. An Xbox Series S, $299, so at regular price, but with a copy of Modern Warfare 2. Do you guys think this is legitimate, or do you think someone's doctored this up?
I reckon this is 100% legitimate.
It is.
Yeah, I was talking to someone. I think I was talking to Boom, and Boom was saying he's seen it as well. It's something in the US. He's seen it, so apparently it is 100% legitimate. And smart move for them to cop the cost. However, it is a bit weird. I can understand why people think it's a rumor because PlayStation does have the marketing on that. So I wonder how they've managed to get around it. I'd say it's not advertised on the box, and it's just an in-house Target deal that Microsoft or Xbox has managed to kind of convince Target to jump in on.
Yeah, so it's a smart way of sort of getting around that that marketing deal by having Target or another big company actually run the promo on your behalf, kind of thing. So that could be their way around it. The only thing is I tried to jump on their website and had a look around. The color scheme is the same, but I still could not find that particular deal on their website. So that's what kind of has kept me skeptical about it. But if this is a legitimate thing, this will sell like hotcakes, and it will be interesting also to whether or not any other large companies will do it over there, like Walmart and GameStop and things like that, or if this is just an exclusive thing for Target over in the US.
Did you find the page? Did you find the actual this specific page that has the Samsungs, LGs, the printer, and all that sort of stuff on it?
No, I couldn't find the exact page. No. I went through technology section and all sorts of gaming section, all sorts of stuff, and I still couldn't find it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting because it looks pretty legit.
Well, right? the color scheme and everything is exactly like what's on their website as well. But I couldn't find it. So unless they're holding it back on their website until it's closer to Black Friday, which is, I'm not even sure exactly when that is. There you go, 28th of November. So it's still a month away. So maybe this is leaked and it hasn't actually arrived on their website yet. But I don't know. Until I see it on their website, I'm still going to be a little skeptical, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it is kind of legit. Yeah, they wouldn't be able to advertise it, but then it's self-advertised, isn't it? The moment you walk into a game store and you see a next gen console with Call of Duty for just $300. That sells itself, really, doesn't it?
Bloody
whatever
oath.
deal
Literally.
PlayStation's got, yeah.
Typed it in just then, found it.
Yeah?
Free Call of
Oh,
Duty
yeah.
Modern Warfare 2 digital with purchase of Xbox Series S. So yeah, it's definitely legit.
Oh, so it's there now. Okay.
Mhm.
Because I looked, I think the last time I looked was Tuesday, Wednesday, and I could not find it. Okay.
Yeah, I just typed in Black Friday Target, and then boom, straight to the deals. But I'll
Shit.
screen cap it and send it to you.
You can
Oh,
struggle
there you
for
go.
Sony to compete with that. Sony has struggled with that deal. No, with all the advertisement in the world, they're not going to beat that cost, are they? So
No,
Well-
definitely not. I mean, that's smart business because they're not really dropping the price of the S like everyone thought they would drop it down to $250. They've done that before, but that just brings new people in. Like, why wouldn't you get a Series S? You know, if you're getting a free Modern Warfare with it, like digitally, like that's just smart business.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. Well,
that'll not that I really care about MPDs, but that'll be interesting for MPDs over in the US come November, December.
you know what they'll be said, didn't you? If Xbox wins MPD in December, there was a chip shortage of PS5. So that's what we hear every time, don't we? Every time Xbox takes the lead at a month, chip shortage for a PlayStation 5. The next month it takes the lead and it's chip shortage over.
Shit, yeah, I've just gone on the Target website. It actually is front and center on the gaming page now. Yep.
There we go.
Far out.
nuts.
Well, there you go,
Yeah.
man. So it's not a rumor after all. It's actually legitimate. There you go. Well, there you go. You've heard it here first. No other podcast is talking about it. So,
well, the
Gamers Initiative podcast. There you go. Exclusive.
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 Yeah, it's-
I think.
I wonder if PlayStation will kick up about this because of the marketing deal. I mean, they obviously know what they're doing. They've got some of the best lawyers in the business, but they are kind of stepping on PlayStation's toes with this one. So I wonder if there'll be any sort of response.
I'm like kind of like what I said before. I'm thinking because it's being done through Target, maybe it's Target's deal, and they can bundle a console with any game they choose to do.
Yeah.
And that's probably what the loophole is based on that.
Yeah.
So yes, Sony's going to be upset, but clearly there's a loophole there that allows them to get away with it. So
I wonder if Jim would go on Twitter and say it's not fair. It's not fair. Xbox are competing. It's not fair. Everyone write to the president. I wonder if we get that again.
that's so there you go. That's actually pretty amazing. Wow, that's a fantastic deal, especially for people new to gaming. Low entry into gaming, and one of the biggest games of all time. Well, it's going to sell like hotcakes, right? So
it'd possibly be a lot of parents buying those up for Christmas.
Yeah, 100%.
Because
$299 in the US for the console, and then the game is what, $70. So really, the console's only $230.
Yeah, that's a great deal.
Like
that's what they did. That's what they were doing. They were dropping it to $250, but people were saying they might drop it as low as $200 for the holidays. But this gives them that extra $30. Plus they're pushing the software as well. I wonder if it's Target copying the cost, Microsoft copying the cost, or if it's Activision Blizzard copying the cost. That'd be interesting to know as well.
I reckon it would be Microsoft copying the cost.
So do I.
All right, I'll look. I don't know, but I reckon it will be. They'll be behind this for sure. So yeah, there you go. That's pretty cool.
You bad for the next topic?
Yes, sir. What is that topic?
Right. I'll tell you. You ready for this?
No. Now I am.
It got good. I was waiting. Uncharted is Sony's weakest game to launch on PC.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I know she. So having a look at this, it didn't even make the top 100 on Steam. Ouch.
Damn.
That's awkward. So unlike other games, it wasn't too successful. I don't know. I've always thought the Uncharted games are sort of kind of overrated. People put them up there on par with all the God of Wars and the Last of Us and that. But I've always thought they're a bit lower tier, and I think that's possibly why this shows.
Have you had any experience playing these games?
No.
Okay. It's obviously, I mean, you can relate to it anyway because you would have played Tomb Raider games, yeah?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's,
games now.
very much, very, very similar sort of thing.
And Tomb Raider I don't rate, so... That's sort of the same, you know what I mean?
You don't like Tomb Raider?
No, I mean, but Tomb Raider's also not big or high on that pedestal either, is it? But I think Uncharted, for some reason, thrown way above Tomb Raider. I think it's overrated compared to Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider's, I think, sort of accepted as what it is, but I think Uncharted is put on a pedestal for some reason, and I don't think it's really reality at those heights. And I think that's what shows by PC gamers not really being interested in it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. Risk it. What do you think? This is the newer one, so it's 4, and then the legacy sort of DLC that came with it, which I actually think, because I've played both, I actually felt that that was better than 4, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, look, I don't think they're overrated, dude. I think they're really good. I've played through. Like, I'm a bit fickle, man. If I'm not liking something, it's nothing for me to put that game down and not come back to it. So if it doesn't grab me and then hold me throughout, then yeah. So for a game to do that, to me, and that's a good game in my book. And Uncharted definitely did that. It's DLC. I got the Legacy of Thieves thing as well, so I could replay through it again. So I played it twice. I really think that this is late to the party stuff. I think that there was not enough hype around it because it's not Spider-Man. It's not, and it wasn't Horizon Zero Dawn. Like that, they were a bit bigger. God of War a bit bigger in name. I think Uncharted's taken a back seat when it comes to their first-party games. So, but also I think it's late to the party, man. Like, how long has this game been out for now? Since 2016?
Yeah, I was going to say 5-6 years. Yeah, something like that.
Yes, it's 5-6 years old. Like, Horizon Zero Dawn wasn't 5 or 6 years old. God of War wasn't 5 or 6 years old. Spider-Man's a bit of a different kettle of fish, but that wasn't 5 or 6 years old either. I think this is just a late to the party thing. And I really think this could go two ways with Sony. I think they could look at this okay, let's not push too far back into our back catalogue. Let's start bringing this new stuff forward. Or they could look at it as like, oh, maybe PC is not going to be as profitable or as worth it as we thought it was. But I think if they're smart, they'll look at this and go, we're not releasing these games, within the hype train. You know what I mean? I suppose 6 months out from a game, so God of War Ragnarok, or a year, there's still going to be hype when that comes to PC. You go 5 years down the track, the hype is gone. Everyone's played it, talked about it, and it's just, there's other stuff to play. So yeah, I think it's a little bit to do with that. I don't think the Legacy of Thieves collection did very well on PlayStation either. But I'll have to check those numbers, but I'm pretty sure that was fairly low as well. So yeah, I don't really think it says anything about the game in particular. I just think it says something about the timing and the management of how they bring stuff to PC, and I think that's PlayStation is sucking at this right now to bringing day and date stuff. Like they kind of really are. Like it, they need to. I think the smart thing for them to do would be like, just go day and date, man. Like if you're selling, how many they sell of God of War? I think it was like 2 million or something like that. Maybe 5 million. You just double that number on launch day, man. That's just nuts to me that they don't see that. They don't want to upset their hardcore fan base. But look, let's be honest, their hardcore fan base is upset constantly anyway. So who cares?
Especially this generation. But yeah,
the permanent raging. I was gonna say also, I don't think that Nathan Drake's that iconic, the character. Do you think? I think if you just said his name to someone in the street, they'd be like, who? I don't think he's that iconic. Not like Kratos or what's his face, or Spider-Man, or Master Chief. I don't think he's just his name's that sort of resonates like they do. So that's all.
Yeah.
I was as well.
Yeah. Oh, look, I agree with what Risk has said in terms of the hype on it. It's not I mean, it's a first-party exclusive title to PlayStation, but it's not massive like the God of Wars and the Spider-Man. So it probably, if anything, this kind of genre title game needs more hype than those others, because those others kind of sell themselves, whereas this one needs to be in that hype window. So I do agree with that as well, 100%. This is a game, though, or games that you can sort of pick up and play whenever you want, so there's no rush to go and play it. And there's been, PC have the pick of the litter when it comes to games that can play in basically any genre at any time. And so this is the kind of game that they don't have to buy straight away and jump into straight away. Like it's not a must-have, must-do, must-play game. So I think that's got a lot to do with it as well. And just over time, gradually, people will just pick it up, whether it's on sale or whatever, and it'll sort of slowly build some sales numbers. It won't obviously reach the numbers to the bigger titles, but it'll grow in its own right. But it's good to have it there, and I think it's like anything, things that aren't done for just one reason, they're usually done by multiple reasons, and I think putting it on there is like a precursor to when the next Uncharted game is made and developed, and it comes out maybe 6 months or a year after the console launch. That'll be within the hype window, or well within it. People have had a taste for it, and if they liked the Uncharted Legacy Thieves collection, they will then pick up the next Uncharted game. So it's kind of like a bit of a preemptive move, in my opinion. Anyway,
it's a bit stupid with the timing, though, really, because they released the Uncharted Thieves Legacy around the release of the movie, which is smart timing. Why wouldn't you have day and dated that? You've already released the game. It wasn't like it wasn't like a proper day and date. That's one they could have got away with day and dating, and then living off, going with the hype of the release of the movie, the release of the game on PlayStation 5, the fact that it is a day and date, all that stuff, could have helped boost sales. Not to mention the fact that they've released around a kind of a launch window that's, got Call of Duty in it. There's a lot of people playing Scorn. There's a lot of people playing Plague's Tale. There's a little bit out at the moment. And that Call of Duty just takes front and center. So, yeah, I think they hurt themselves in a lot of different ways with this one.
Yeah. Did you guys watch the movie, Uncharted movie?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just I like Tom Holland, but he doesn't fit that role at all, does he?
It's just Mark Wahlberg with a moustache.
Yeah.
Neither of them do, but here's the thing. If you think of that movie as not an Uncharted movie, if you just think of it as like just a movie,
action adventure,
it's actually not bad. But as an Uncharted movie, terrible.
So, that's awful. Yeah. Because looking at the character of Nathan Drake in the game, and you look at it, they don't even look similar. But still, Tom Holland plays like he does in sort of Spider-Man. He still plays like the sort of a timid sort of teenager, and like when he's just mainly just ducking and diving and trying to avoid combat of anything. He just doesn't avoid. It's just he's good at parkour. That's about it. I don't think he's Nathan Drake. So So yeah, but as you said, the film's sort of good just as an action adventure standalone movie, but yeah, it doesn't come across as a Uncharted. I don't think there'll be an Uncharted 2, I'd imagine, get a movie. So
no, I think everyone had the same similar sort of opinion, right?
Yeah,
I think it was pretty widely agreed upon, which is rare.
Yeah.
Indeed. You guys are watching the Gamers Initiative podcast with myself, AshtreyGaming, EliteGamingGuru. Red Dead Panda couldn't be with us today. She's got lockjaw and she can't talk. She's been anyway, I'll leave that to you guys to figure out. But we do have a special guest with us today, Risk It for the Biscuit.
Yeah.
Who's very well known in the community. Now, we are going to jump into our third topic.
We are.
What is that
topic?
topic?
Topic is, I'm going to tell you. Are you ready?
No. Yes. No.
Yes. So Sony removed expiry date from PlayStation Plus games. So just the same as Game Pass, when a game's about to leave PlayStation Plus, it tells you when it's going to go. But they removed that for some reason, so you don't know when it's going to go. Why did they do this?
That is a weird thing to do. Risk it. I find it weird. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's odd. I don't know why you would do that, because that creates engagement, right? If anyone in the community knows Hargeet, a lot of people probably would.
Yep.
He's one that will basically hover around the leaving soon list, and he'll try to finish those games before they leave. And then if you can't finish them, he'll buy them. And so that creates engagement and it creates sales if you leave that on, because I'm sure that Hargate's not alone. He's not the only person that kind of does that. Although I imagine it'd be a small amount of people, but like still, that's a small amount of people, buying games, etc., etc. But yeah, weird that they have this. I don't know, man. Maybe it's to kind of create a narrative that they've got more games than they have, or the games don't leave PS Plus, or
that's what that's what it feels like. Kind of like nothing's going to leave, and they just creep out. And it's not kind of announced. Where I agree with what you said as well. Like I've actually seen on the Xbox Game Pass side of things, the leaving soon, and I've clicked on it and I've seen a game. I can't remember what it was called. It was Fire something. And
Show your dad.
No, it was like Fire Station or something. Oh. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll see. This game looks kind of cool. Clicked on it, started playing it. One of the greatest games I played. Little indie game. But I hadn't seen that before until it was in the leaving soon. So it actually brought it to my attention. So, like what Riskett said, some people might see it just like that for me as well, or buy it because of that. So it kind of announces it. And I think it takes 2, maybe possibly 3 months until it actually leaves, once it gets announced as leaving soon, because it gives people plenty of time to then start it or the chance to finish that game. So it takes a couple of months at least till it actually drops out. And I think it's a good thing to let your consumers know if a game that you're currently playing is about to leave. Imagine if you booted up your PlayStation 4 or 5 and you're playing a game through PS Plus and you're getting through it, you're really enjoying it, and then all of a sudden you come back to it a day or two later and it's just not there. How upset would you be? I know I would be. I'd be furious.
Oh yeah, I'd be 100%. I'd be pissed. And I wouldn't buy it, or maybe I would, depending on how good the game was. I mean, I don't know if that's their plan. Like, is that their plan? I get stubborn with stuff like that, though. If a company does something like that, I'll be like, nah, not buying it. Nah. On principle, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, so it goes, you don't realise, and then you have to buy it, kind of thing. You think, I didn't know it was leaving, and it's just gone, and then maybe that is the plan. So sort of encourage people to buy more games off it. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but see, that's why I think the leaving soon, it gives you that option, and plus it advises you that you get 10% discount for buying it through Game Pass and stuff. So I think it's more of a sales tool than anything, and I think it's a positive thing to have. So to silently take games out and not have any dates behind it is a bit worrisome. At the same time, and weird, unless. And I doubt it, but unless they don't have any plans on removing the games at all.
Yeah, right. Good. But here's the thing I wanted to ask, though. Does Xbox have the dates like a decent ways out? Or do they... Because I've never checked that. I always just check the leaving soon thing. So...
I think they're a few weeks, aren't they? When it says leaving soon. I don't think
it's definitely... Yeah, they give you like a month, 2 months, in the leaving soon. But I don't think they ever have the dates on them like that. So PlayStation shifted their store, pivoted to like more of an Xbox type way to do it, where they just have a like a leaving soon section. That would make more sense. But yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest. PlayStation hasn't been the most consumer friendly of companies for the entire generation. I suppose I wouldn't expect them to do anything consumer friendly now. In fact, every time I think they're done being anti-consumer, they say, hold my beer and do something else. So
this is true. This is true. Look, Xbox don't seem to have any actual dates, at least not on their app, of when they're actually leaving. But like I said, it's at least 2 months, I'm pretty sure. It's a long time anyway. And it gives you plenty of time to finish your game or start it and play through it. So it's more than fair, I feel, anyway. I've never come back to a game and it's gone, and I'm like, oh shit, that's bullshit. I hadn't finished it or whatever. So,
and then rage quit.
Well, I rage quit on other games.
So
anyway, that's for
rage quit on Fortnite.
Oh, fuck yeah. Of course. 100%. Many times. Screaming, yelling, swearing. Yep.
Damn you guys. Everyone's playing there.
Well, because it's actually fun, and it's actually a good game, and it's actually got very good mechanics, and it's actually got things like Dealer buys so many skins and emotes and shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, I actually started. He convinced me to play it. I was giving him a fair bit of shit about playing Fortnite, and then he was like, "No, man." He has a way of convincing you to do shit, right? I don't know what it is, but he's like, "It's really good," and I'm like, "Yeah, nah, not for me." And he's like, "No, that's what I thought." Blah blah. Anyway, he convinced me to play it, and yeah, it's. Unfortunately, I heaped a lot of shit on Fortnite, and it's actually really good. Yeah,
did I hear right? They took out the building element of it.
Yeah, that's why I like it so much. Is because you can. It's
good.
now.
I hate that
build free mode.
Good. I hate that building thing. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what turned a lot of people off it because it was just ridiculous. All these guys could build mausoleums and skyscrapers in seconds. And it was just ridiculous. And like I used to play it on the Switch because they're actually easier matches over on the Switch because I think you're playing with other Switch gamers and mobile.
4-year-olds.
And so it's a lot easier. So I actually I played that for about a year or year and a half, and then I switched over to the Xbox, and it was a lot harder. But I've been playing that now for quite some time, and as soon as they got rid of the build mode, then I just became addicted to it, and I play it nearly every day. And then I got Boba into it, and then it just sort of snowballed from there. So the only person I haven't been able to get into it is the blue one because he's a fraud. But maybe one day we'll convince him to do it, play with us. But yeah, it's quite fun. But we're not here to talk about Fortnite. Fuck that. No, we're here to talk about other things. Let's talk about next topic?
Well, let's talk about Microsoft looking for Chinese games to compete with Sony. So Microsoft and Sony are looking for Chinese developers and sort of games to wave each other to flex with. And so far, I think what I'm reading here, Microsoft has been building a team to scout for Chinese games. And the Xbox maker mainly filled its subscription roster with big brand titles, but is now wooing even independent studios with big money offers. So they're going there splashing the cash in China at the moment. So, yeah, what do you guys think about this?
Risk it.
I'm not going to lie. I love it when I call something. I called it. Because a lot of people are talking about, hey, when Microsoft was doing the Tokyo Game Show and blah, 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 blah. They're looking for Japanese developers. And I'm like, I don't think that's it, man. I think they're looking for Eastern developers as a whole. Especially when you saw Liza P. And that's a Korean studio. I think they're just looking for that Asian flavor that do games that only they can do. Like, I really don't think you get Western developers that can do games like Eastern developers. And I think a lot of people just kind of look to Japan as like the A-all and B-all, because, you got JRPGs, but there's a lot of those developers are Chinese or Korean that make really good JRPGs. And so this is not at all surprising. Plus, there's some just absolute banging Chinese studios at the moment. I don't know who makes Black Wukong, but Black Wukong looks amazing. If they get a hold of that, there's so much that's good, like that could be brought to Xbox right now. It's nuts. So I'm glad that they're widening their focus and that they're throwing money at like as much as they can.
Yeah, for sure.
Korean as well. I think the Korean are getting big on the sort of gaming side as well, aren't they? And then we got a while back that I think what's it called? Oh, Black something. That Korean game. We had a couple of Korean games. Wasn't there? There was that Battle Royale game, and there was another game. I can't remember there. But yeah, I think the
Crossfire X you're talking about.
Well, it's Crossfire X, yeah. No, but there's that other one. What's the one where you run around? I can't remember what it's called now. It's
Well, Elite, there was
open world MMO, Korean MMO.
I don't know, but there was Bright Memory Infinite, and that was done by a Chinese developer.
Yeah,
that was that one with the shooting and the sort of the knives and stuff, which was kind of cool.
Yeah,
short game but great graphics. Gameplay was pretty cool, bit different. So that's it. Look, they've got to expand, don't they? I mean, everything's very Western or European. So, where's the next target? Is Europe, not Europe, China and Japan and all that kind of stuff, Korea. So, the Asian market is huge. They'll probably also be looking into India. So, there's tons of talented people out there, and again, with the services that they've both got, Game Pass and PS Plus, they need to bolster and have as much content as possible. And it's not only just content; it's about having games for those countries so that they get on the board too. I mean, if you got a bunch of Chinese developers making games over there, by default, I reckon they will sell more consoles because they're like, oh yeah, that's our favorite developer, and now it's finally on Xbox. We'll pick up an Xbox, or we'll play it on PC or whatever. So either way, it'll get them into the ecosystems. So it's a good thing, and we get more options.
Exactly that, but it's not just they're like their favorite developer. They might they're more likely to hit with like a trailer or something. You know what I mean? So we're different culturally. Like, let's be completely honest. And so we like different things and live different ways, and those Eastern games are different, and it's good to have those to grab those consumers over there. Absolutely, exactly like you said. So it could just be a new IP that they end up with, or a new developer that they end up with, because they do a lot of fostering as well. So I think, Xbox is, as we've seen, is going to be really hitting that Eastern side pretty hard. And the other thing as well, I don't know if we're talking about this in topics, so I don't want to jump ahead. But I mean, when they mentioned the other day that they feel like they've hit the ceiling on, or at some point soon they're going to hit that ceiling on Game Pass subscriptions on console. The only way to raise that is to sell more consoles, and one of the ways to do that is to branch out into other countries and really push it there, because we know PlayStation has cornered the market, especially in the East.
Yeah, that's actually what it says on this. It said since 2017, PlayStation's been pushing into China. So, Sony have been pushing into China. So Microsoft are a bit behind on the curve, so they're playing catch up there. So hopefully, the next couple of years, we'll start seeing more and more stuff flooding in.
For sure. And I think Xbox's experience in Japan have probably helped them a lot, mainly talking about that whole debacle with Platinum Games. So I think they'll be a bit more aware of any deals they do, and sort of how to work that sort of situation. So it's probably sort of a bit of an eye-opener that's going to help them as well, make sure that it all happens and what they're paying for gets made.
She exposed herself, didn't she, recently, that lady? Not like literally. But she came out and said that they did offer her more money, didn't she?
Yeah. So in a series of tweets, she had basically admitted she got offered 10K, and then she said she felt she was worth more, so they offered her 15K, and then she refused that. So then they went, well, we'll pay you 4K after that.
Yeah.
So she did it to herself, and lying doesn't get you anywhere.
Take on that. I really do have an unpopular take on that, but like, I think the woman's got some pretty serious issues mentally. Just going through some of her tweets and videos, and she definitely did do it to herself. Yeah, she did the wrong thing, but man, people, what people are like online. It's been absolutely viperous. I mean, I even just put in there and said, listen, she did the wrong thing, but leave her alone. Like, and man, the people did not appreciate that. So I know she did the wrong thing, but there's no need to be an asshole, really.
She told people not to buy the game, didn't she?
She did. She did, but attack. I don't know, man. Just being viper. I don't know. I don't have a soft spot for people who do stupid things. I guess that. I just don't like to see people getting absolutely dogpiled by the internet. I hate it. I hate seeing it. I don't think it needs to happen. And I think people are just generally dicks in that situation that don't need to be. And there's a couple of leaders that kind of jumped on top of her as well. And I'm like, well, if you're a leader in the community and you've already seen the entire community is dogpiling this poor woman, leave her alone. Like, she's already copping it left, right, and center. She doesn't need your take as well. I'm not saying what she did was right. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm not saying what she did was even smart. I'm not saying what she did. Like nothing like that. I'm just saying you don't need to be an asshole on the internet.
Yeah, but sometimes you put it in a public forum, you're going to get public backlash, and it kind of just comes with the territory. So unless it's like threats and to her life and shit like that, that's fucked up. I don't agree with that. But yeah, sometimes people need to be told, to shut the hell up and. But trying to boycott the game, we won't run on this too long, but to try and boycott the game because of a mistake she made, and then that could potentially cost other people's livelihoods is pretty fucked up too, man. So I can understand the outrage, but just as long as it doesn't get violent or crude.
That's true, but fuck Platinum. Like, I don't know if I'm that.
Fuck Platinum. I don't like them either.
Yeah, I don't like them. Yeah, they're a piece of shit.
Fuck them.
But yeah. But I was going to say it's going to get more toxic on Twitter soon anyway. When now Elon's taken over, and he's already sacked a load of people. But he said he's going to open up Twitter so it's free, so you can say what you want on there. And then it's just going to be a completely free, open platform. So it's going to get so toxic now.
That's got to be within certain fucking reasons and elements and stuff. You can't just be there's a limit. But anyway. We're not here to talk about that. We're not here to talk about that. No.
We're here to talk about Yakuza.
Ooh.
And its success in the West thanks to Game Pass. That's what the director of Yakuza came out and said. He said he basically puts down the success of Game Pass in the West. The success of Yakuza in the West is due to Game Pass because it's seen a massive boost to the players of the game. And they basically they thank the day when they put it on Game Pass. Game Pass.
Believe it. I think Game Pass is damaging developers, damaging the industry.
Yeah, they're lying. Yeah.
He's just saying that because Microsoft has got like a gun to his head or something.
He's being blackmailed, is he?
yeah. They're not going to pay him unless he says this extra thing, or I don't know. They must have some sort of marketing deal. I don't know. Like that's cool, man. Like I haven't picked it up though, and played it because. I don't know, it just doesn't seem like my type of game. Everyone's loving it. Everyone was talking about it for a while there. I don't know if you guys remember, but it just hasn't looked like my type of thing.
Yeah, I downloaded it and played it, and like Persona 5, it just seemed dated. You know what I mean? Maybe if they come out with a brand new next-gen version, I'll give it a look. But it just comes across as dated. I don't know what it is with these games.
Well, these are obviously existing Yakuza titles. There's more than one. There's quite a few of them. There's Yakuza 3 Remastered, Yakuza 0, Yakuza 5 Remastered. Like, there's basically their whole catalog there. And Yakuza Like a Dragon. So I haven't played any of them myself. Would I be correct in saying they're kind of like Japanese versions of Grand Theft Auto? Is that like a fair assumption?
No.
Okay. What is it like? Guys in the chat, let us know what Yakuza games are like, or what are they similar to?
You don't have the freedom as you do in Grand Theft Auto. Not that I found when I was playing. You can't go around nick cars and do all that crap, or fly planes and things like that. It's probably more like Crackdown or something like that. Maybe more like that.
Blue in the chat, the blue one. What's up, fraud? You like the Yakuza games? What are they like? Are they? I had the impression they were similar to a GTA game, but I know you've played them, you like them. So what are they like? Let us know. There's pain in the chat.
I think some of them are like even turn-based combat, like that real JRPG-based combat, right? So
Trial agrees with me. It's not like GTA. No, they're not like GTA.
No, okay.
I'm trying to think what it's more like. It's basically just run around. There's no real sort of vehicles.
Is it linear? Quite linear then? Is it?
Yeah, compared to GTA, yeah, much more linear. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, because I've never tried it, but regardless of that, anyway, it's good to see Game Pass. It brings things to people's attention. It brings those games. Yeah, they're existing games, but it brings it to an audience that may have not have even heard of it before. So, like just a real quick story. When Boba and I went to, what was it? PAX a few weeks ago. We were standing in line waiting to get in, and they had trailers up on the screen, and they had a Plague's Tale Requiem up there, and these dudes behind us had no idea what the game was, hadn't even heard of it. They was like, "Oh, what is that?" It's, you know, they're trying to come up with ideas of what it was, and I go, "Dudes, it's Plague's Tale Requiem." Like, "Oh, that game's awesome. Never heard of it. Oh, we're gonna go have a look at it." And so a lot of people still within the gaming space don't know a lot of games. So this has brought it to a lot of people's attention, and it gives them the availability to play it with a really cheap subscription. So, of course, it's going to get more attention, and people are going to see it, play it, and try it, and it's going to grow. And so
That's a really good point, dude. Like, I think we often, like, as hardcore gamers, I mean, Crazy Lure, we disagree with me, even that hardcore gamers exist, but that's a weird conversation for another time.
That is weird.
Yeah, it is very weird. But like hardcore gamers, we're abreast, you know, we're keeping on top of what's happening in gaming news, what games are coming. Like, we're playing a lot, so we're ripping through, like, you know, game after game, or you sit on whatever game you sit on for a while or whatever. But you know what's in Game Pass, you know what's, you know, next, or you know, when Yakuza came, it was news. You know, we're all talking about how it's all coming, like, and that's cool. But a lot of these casual gamers, like you say, they're not up on what's happening, and until it actually hits the Xbox or hits the store, or they see it like advertised on the Xbox, then they don't even know about it. So yeah, I think that's a really good point, and that's probably a lot to do with its success. That's another thing though that Xbox is actually pretty good at, and people complain about. But I kind of see it as a good thing. As a lot of people will say, "Oh, you know, I don't like the advertising on the Xbox and blah blah blah." But like, a lot of times I'll see a game come up that I maybe haven't, you know, a smaller game, if they pop an indie on there that I'm not looking for or looking to see, and I'll go play it because they popped it up on there. So yeah, I think it's good. It's good for discoverability, Game Pass.
Absolutely. It really is, and that's the whole thing around it. It's a machine on its own to bring things to light for people. I mean, I've played tons of games on Game Pass that I would never have tried in my life because it's there, because they advertise it, or because you're flicking through and you see it and you have a look and go, what's that about? And you try it. You can play it from the cloud. You don't even have to download half the games now to try it. So I'm like, wow, yeah, this is pretty good. I might actually install this now. But you don't have to waste your time installing it and to find out it's shit just to delete it, right? So now most of them you can just play via cloud if your internet's good enough. And like, I played Proteus, which is like a Doom clone type game. Fairly easy achievements as well if you want to jump in and play it. And I played that for a few levels just on cloud and went, yeah, nah, this is good enough. I like it. I want slightly better visuals because it's, you know, it's a little bit soft. Downloaded it and continued to play it, and it was fantastic. So it's the ease of use is fantastic, and I like that sort of thing around that.
That game is great too. Proteus,
it really is.
Loving that game. Haven't completed it. It's still in my back catalog to play through, but really cool as well. I don't know if you mess with the visuals a bit, like,
yes.
I always go to you got to change it over to like 4K, because it starts out as like the old 360p or whatever the hell it is, 340p. It's like pretty rough looking, but it's supposed to be. Supposed to be like that whole Doom type thing. But yeah, when you switch to 4K, man, and you get green space reflections, and you know, all the particle effects, it's really cool game, man. I really like that.
Well, here you go. Here's I don't know if you got a screen in front of you, but here's some gameplay of Proteus now. That'll come up in a sec, and that's changing the visuals and making them 3D sprites and stuff like that. The guns are OP in that game too, man. They're so much fun. Some of the best guns I've ever used in a shooter.
I love it.
There's one that's like kind of like a sniper rifle, and when you shoot it, it sounds like lightning going off. It's just great, man. Really good game. Lots of blood. Fun. Yep.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, man. So you completed it?
Yeah, I didn't play like those other timed levels where you can try, like, you only have a shotgun and stuff, but I skipped those ones. There's only 2 or 3 of those, but yeah, played through all the levels and got to the end where you see all the developers, and it's like a shrine at the very end where they got all the developers and people that helped fund the game and stuff like that. So yeah, good fun.
The older games,
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Can you shoot the developers or no?
No, I tried that, of course. No, you can't. No. But yeah,
they die in real life when you shoot them. Yeah.
Imagine that. Anyway, enough about produce, as Boba calls it.
Before we move on to the next topic, I just want to do a shout out to everyone in the chat. So we got Tryhard Fan. It's Timmy. We've got Timmy. We've got Boom 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 Boom. We've got Infinite
You're an idiot.
Infinite Umbra. Paddy Scarno 1. We've got who else we got? Oh, we've got Tinder Hot XYZ Best Adult Dating Site. Thank you for joining us. Drop a like. We've got Tryhard Fan. We've got Fizz Payne. I'm scrolling down here. Oh, wait, way too far up with this there. Yeah, I think that's about it. Guys, if you can all drop a like, everyone that's in the chat, drop a like, please. And remember to share this out on Twitter and let's get some more people in here. So, should we jump on to the next topic? Do you want to lead it? Should I just carry on going?
Yeah, just carry on, sir.
All right, I'm going to do this. Right. Topic number 6. Xbox hardware revenue grows 13%. Cent. Oh, shit.
There's an echo.
The whole thing.
You muppet. Yeah, as Microsoft Gaming reports best ever Q1, that's quarter one, Game Pass used by over 20 million people. I still think they're lowballing that number, to be honest with you, but whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think they're not going to probably tell us the new number until January. I think they're just keeping it. Yeah.
Why January, though?
I did it last January, didn't they? Or this January, I should say. Didn't they mention it was something 18 million in January, didn't they? January this year or something like that? 18 or 20.
Oh, was it? Okay. Not 100% sure.
Yeah, it certainly can't be still at the same number for an entire year. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure they announce it every January for some reason. But, yeah, this sort of upset quite a lot of people, didn't it? Certain fan base who now claiming them. They've been asking for this all day long, all about Game Pass. We'll know if it's successful and that. It turns out it's successful. Now they're calling them liars. No, they're lying. They're making it up. Okay. But,
yeah, I got that as well, dude. But I was like, with the Game Pass being profitable, like how he's come out and said that. I've heard. I've got a specific person that I go back and forth with for days on subjects, and one of these subjects, I pulled the receipts on him and said, "Man, I don't know if you're going to eat your words." Nah, the dude's not going to eat his words. He's like, "I think it's clever accounting." I'm like,
yeah.
Come on, dude. Exactly. This is not clever accounting. This is a publicly traded company with shareholders and people they have to answer to, regulators, that if they do lie about the numbers and they get pulled up, there's consequences for that. So, yeah, this is not clever accounting. This is just the facts. So they can't say anything publicly. They can't say, "Hey, Xbox is profitable," and then get all their shareholders in a room and go, "Just kidding, guys. We're just in the console war." Like that's not how it works. So, I mean, are these console warriors who think that it's all clever accounting and it's a lie or whatever they think? They're just idiots, man. It kind of pains me to say because the guy that I go back and forth with, I do consider him to be intelligent, but when it comes to a console bias, really stupid, man. Like I literally couldn't believe he said it. Like I was like, you can't be serious, dude. And he was deadly serious. But the Xbox revenue growing by 13%, I guess it's like a whole lot of things, isn't it? Like that's them heading into the East, them pushing into Japan, them bundling Modern Warfare 2 with the Series S, like them selling the Series S at like heavily discounted. There's a lot that Xbox are doing to give them that growth. But I mean, their services dropped by 3%, so that's quite interesting. But I guess that's to be expected due to the fact that they really haven't had, and I hate to say it, Xbox got no games, but they really haven't had anything in the AAA space, for 2022, which is pretty poor, right? And look, there's one, you guys haven't got it up here in topic, so I'm going to jump to it.
Go for it.
There's one game they could have brought that they just didn't bring, and I don't know why, and it really pisses me off, man. Probably doesn't piss you off, Ashtray, but me, it does. They could have released Age of Empires 4. That game's just a port across. And then we hear about, hey, we're doing an Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. Like, what are you doing? Just that's a AAA game. You know, like I know they don't play the console wars or whatever. They do a little bit, but like that's that helps your optics. You know, that as they say, hey, there's another AAA game we released on Xbox because we know they count those double releases as single releases per platform. So, like, I don't know why they haven't done that. They probably would have helped their services revenue not drop by the 3% that it did. However, I mean, as Phil said, like, and I think, it's pretty obvious to see. I've been saying it, like, people really focus on Game Pass, and we all do because it's a great deal. But you got to remember, and people will equate Game Pass to Netflix, and they'll equate it to other subscription services, Disney Plus, whatever. But what you got to remember is they still have a traditional sales model, and that is their biggest revenue. And microtransactions, and their traditional sales model, still the biggest revenue for Xbox. So that traditional, it's just a supplementary thing, Game Pass, to supplement everything else that they have. It brings people into the ecosystem. That's what it's there for, to bring people in. And once they're there, they spend money. You got to get them through the door. And this is Xbox's way of getting them through the door. And when he said profitable, man, that could be $3. That could be $1 billion. We don't know. But if it is making money, that means that it's the most important thing, sustainable. And if it's sustainable, it's a service that's not going anywhere. And what it will do is just continue to bring more and more people into the ecosystem. So this is great.
I like that you said it's supplementary because that's exactly what it is. And people gloss over that or forget to mention that or forget it all entirely. It's just an option.
Yeah.
No one's stopping you from buying your games traditionally or digitally or whatever. Yeah. It's just another option. And I'm all for options, and everyone should be. So, no, I'm glad you said supplementary because that's exactly what it is. And it's just glossed over, which is annoying. Elite, you sound like you want to say something.
Yeah, the whole line argument. Sure, you can just then back to Sony. Whenever we get figures from them, they're lying. If we're going to go down that path, then just both sides are lying about everything and nothing. We can't believe anything. So it's a ridiculous statement. They always demand these numbers because they remember about a month ago the whole revenue thing come out. They're saying they made X amount of revenue, and then PlayStation Game was saying, yeah, but it's not profit. They're not told us a profit. We want a profit. Otherwise, it's not making profit. So they come out and say the profit, and they go, oh, okay. Well, then they're lying. They're lying. It can't be making profit. And all their podcasts.
Like I had that back and forth when they came out with the $2.9 billion revenue, right? Look, and so what I got told was you can't do the numbers because you don't have the overheads or the incidentals. Oh, that's true. I don't have the overheads. I don't have their electricity bills, man. I don't have their wages. I don't have their incidentals. I don't have the coffee and tea room cost. I don't have all that sort of stuff, right? But what you can work out is and I did this, you can work out roughly what they're spending on games because we've already got numbers. Like we know Guardians of the Galaxy was 10 million. We know Kitchen Gordon Ramsay Simulator was 600,000. You can get a rough gauge on what they're spending. You know how many games are in Game Pass. You can, like I said, so you can give it a good gauge. And I was coming out with them walking away with around about $1 billion, 900 million, whatever, walking away with at least about $1 billion profit. And I inflated the shit out of those numbers, man. But I can't see, just looking at it from a common sense perspective, that you can't see that 2.9 billion is going to give you a profit with that service. Like, it's not a heap of cost involved in Game Pass itself. I don't think, other than the games. A lot of people go, oh, overheads, wages, and man, you're already paying all those things that Game Pass requires you to do, or requires you to have to run. Is UI systems,
service.
Services that you're already running those things already anyway. So it's not an added extra cost other than actually getting the games into Game Pass.
Yeah, it costs Jim to upload the games to the Azure servers. It costs Microsoft $2.9 billion to do so. So that's why they're not making any money, because he's got a very, very steep wage.
But yeah, Cream Fresh done a math lesson, didn't he? Saying the Game Pass wasn't making money based on his maths; it wasn't making profit. So that's shock horror. He's mad with wrong.
Look, let's just put it this way: all the people that denounce it or deny it or say that it's not making money, are any of those people rich? No, they probably still live at their parents' house. So
one of them claimed to be a CFO though, and then I think he got snapped out recently that he actually wasn't a CFO.
There you go.
That's quite interesting.
So anyway, but it's good news.
Part of the stats, it said on PC, it's got Game Pass subscriptions have increased 159%
year over year. Yep.
Yeah. So it's getting a massive system Game Pass on PC, which is great because like PCs, there's vastly more PCs than there are Xboxes and PlayStations combined. So the numbers are almost limitless. If that just keeps almost trumps Steam, I think hopefully it'll just be breeding crazy money.
Well, I mean, Steam's quite established, so their growth is going to slow down, obviously. It depends on whether Xbox can continue that growth. It's not going to be like that every year. It's not going to be 159, 160% every year. It always slows right down. It depends on their storefront, their offering. It's got to always keep growing and expanding, and it's got to be user-friendly. If they can't hit those, PC gamers will turn their back on it. They're fickle like that. They like certain things and they want it to work. So it's good news now, but we'll see how it works out in the future. And I'm just sort of playing devil's advocate there because that's just real life.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
there is a ceiling. There's always going to be a ceiling, and it's your ceiling is your systems. So yeah, I mean, PC has a high ceiling, but it's a ceiling. But I mean, when you talk about hitting a ceiling, you're only ever going to get to that, or it's only ever going to slow down as much as your cadence, I think. Because people will drop off and come back and drop off, and there'll always be unsubscribers and subscribers, as we in YouTube know. But yeah, if they could provide cadence, I think you'll see those numbers grow quite a bit before they hit a ceiling. And I think we're going to see that cadence next year. We've been saying next year for probably about 5 years, but I think we're going to see cadence next year. And if we do, I think you'll see growth on the consoles, not just the PCs. I was really surprised to see Phil say, I think we've hit the ceiling with consoles, because I really don't think you have, dude. I just think you haven't provided. Some people are fickle, and if you don't have the games they want, they won't, those AAAs, they won't subscribe. So.
Yep, and there's heaps of growth in console. I mean, realistically, you can sort of put it in this way, whether you agree with what I'm about to say or not, is that PC is expensive and consoles are on the cheap side. And there's, you can't buy a $200, $300 PC and for it to run, the way you need it to run to play these games. So, that's where console comes in. There's a lot of poor countries. There's a lot of South America, there's a lot of countries in Europe that can't afford PCs. Obviously there is, but there's certain pockets and places. Africa's, one of those places that can't necessarily afford the best of the best. They're target markets that they still probably haven't tapped into enough to grow the console space. And I think there's heaps of growth potential there in those areas.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And again, let's go back to the East and, even in the West, I mean, I was playing Call of Duty with one of my guys who's a staunch PlayStation guy. I've been trying for 15 years to bring him to Xbox. And I think that this year might be the chance that I actually have to bring him across, because he's a huge racing guy and he might jump across. So you're still going to get a lot of these staunch PlayStation guys who don't live on Twitter and Xbox, some guys that are actually reasonable will be like, oh, there's a game over there I want to play. The Series S is cheap. I'm going to jump in there. So, I mean, I think you continue to see growth for quite some time.
Yeah, agreed. And I don't think we've still got all of the Xbox 360 gamers back from the PlayStation side that jumped over to PlayStation 4, have probably continued on to PlayStation 5. Yeah, I know we've got some back, but we probably haven't even got all of those back either. So, yeah, there's still definitely growth in the console space in all markets, in all countries, I should say. So it'll grow.
That'll change when COD drops on Game Pass day one. You watch that number starts shifting upwards, I think.
It'll happen before then, anyway, because we know that there's a ton of games coming next year, and basically, the thereafter. So COD will just be that nail in the coffin, or that growth spurt that they're going to need at that time, just to keep those numbers rising.
Right. Okay.
It's all
Should we
good.
go on to the next topic?
No, we shouldn't. We'll do a quick reset here. This is the Gamers Initiative podcast with myself, Ashtray Gaming, Elite Gaming Guru. Red Dead Panda couldn't be with us today. She's got jaw lock, can't speak. Our thoughts and prayers go out to her. And with our special... I'm kidding, guys. She's all right. She's just a little under the weather. And but we do have our special guest today, Risk It for the Biscuit, which I'm sure many of you know from his podcast, which is actually... When is that? That's a couple of... is that
hours away.
2 hours away?
Yeah, 2 hours away.
Just bounce from here to there.
Yeah, so that's going to go for about 5 hours. So it's going to be a big day for you, man.
No, we've been keeping them to 2 hours. We're starting to get a little bit Iron Lordsy, and we're bringing it back.
2 hours is good. 2 hours, one and a half hours, I reckon, is the sweet spot. 2 hours is good, and then anything after that starts to be a bit long in the tooth. But that's just me. Well, look, I honestly don't have a heap of time on the weekends, and so it's a weekend day, and I kind of want to keep it to 2 hours because I want to get on and do some stuff, in my life and play games, man. It's an extra hour I can be playing games as well. So, we're trying to keep it to 2, but sometimes the conversation blows out. I try to keep it down as much as I can, but we'll see. Yeah. Oh, well, if you're having fun and the conversation's working and rolling well, then yeah, for sure, man. Keep it going. So, Elite, yes, you can now go to the next topic if you would like to.
I will. Topic number 7.
7.
So in the news recently, we've had a lot of people. Well, firstly, it wasn't even a dev, was he? We had a graphic artist said the Xbox Series S is holding back next gen, and then we had some guy that made the Fish game.
Yep.
It's Xbox Series X, and then we had a lot of sort of Sony fans running with that because it suited the narrative. Now we've had a dev come forward and say Xbox Series S isn't holding next gen back. Reality is, which is what we was all pretty much saying, really. So he's gone on to say that there is actually nothing about the Series S that's holding it back. Looking at the facts, which we've all been saying, especially when it comes to games like the recent games of Gotham and Requiem, that in some stages run better than the PlayStation 5. So I think the load times of Requiem was apparently better on the
Series S
than the PlayStation 5, and the frame drops weren't as bad on the Series S as they were on the PlayStation 5. So we need to take all this information, and then it just doesn't make sense that it's holding back next gen. So especially as next gen is still, especially on the PlayStation side, is still referring back to the PlayStation 4 for their games. I think, if anything, last gen is holding back next gen. Still putting your games on like PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones is, if anything, is holding back next gen. So, but what do you guys want to say about this? About Xbox Series S holding back next gen, or not, as the case may be?
Well, Risk It, do you have a Series S? Because I know Elite does.
Yep. Yeah, I got the X and I got the S. Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
So how do you find the S when you play it? First of all,
it's a bit of a potato. Let's be honest. No, it's good for what I use it for. It's all consumer specific. It's like, what do you want to use it for? If you got a 4K TV that could go at 120 FPS, then you probably need the X, and you're probably one of the people who would buy the X because you got a 4K TV, so you care about that stuff. If you're a gamer who doesn't really care about that, or you struggle for money and you've got a cheaper TV, you've got a cheaper console to match it. Like, this is the thing. I mean, this crazy, stupid shit that people come out and believe. The guy was an artist. The original guy that came out for Gotham Knights was an artist, dude. He's not a developer. Yeah. I mean, he is. He works for a development. He's not actually a guy who codes and tries to optimize these games. That's not what he does. So he wouldn't know his ass from his elbow. Yeah. He wouldn't know. What we have found out is that Gotham Knights is so CPU heavy, it cannot be well, that's not true. It's so CPU leaning that it can't, it's got nothing to do with the GPU. it maxes out the Series X's CPU. It maxes out the PS5 CPU. It maxes out, some of the top tier, almost top tier PC CPUs. So it's got nothing to do with the GPU, and that's where the Series S is, a little bit less than its bigger brother. It's got a weaker GPU. It's got less RAM. That's not the problem with Gotham Knights, and that look, I gotta say, that idiot should have just kept his mouth shut, because now he looks like a moron. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Like,
he deleted his account, didn't he?
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Yeah, he probably would have got told to, man. And I would very likely, I would imagine that he is probably not working wherever the hell he was working, because if they're developing for Xbox, he's not working there. I'm pretty sure. In the interim, he might get a job at PlayStation. Who knows? But like, it's nuts. Like, people just jump on anything that they see on Twitter and be like, yeah, it's someone who's got the tiniest amount of experience and calls himself developer. He must be right. Nah, man, these developers get shit wrong all the time. They're people. Look at Gotham Knights. They got that wrong, right? It's just poorly. It is a poorly optimized games. You could reference it's happened so many times. This conversation has happened so many times and then been proven wrong so many times. Like Dying Light 2. They were like, oh, it's the Series S and we can't do it. It's not possible. It's holding us back. And here's a 60 FPS patch. I'm sorry that I opened my mouth. Like, it's just, the conversation around the Series S holding gaming back is stupid. Especially when quite often, the Series S will outperform the PlayStation 5. And these fanboys are like, oh, that's because it's doing 1080p. Well, that's not the only reason that a console or a setup will outperform another setup. It's got to do with your CPU. That's usually where you'll get your performance from. The only time that performance really is heavily affected by a GPU is when it's extremely graphics heavy, or you've got ray tracing on, or but even ray tracing will affect your CPU. It's generally your CPU that will give you performance. So yeah, I find it really funny that there's a lot of laymen out there who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, just rattling off bullshit. And a lot of them are developers, which is the worst part. It's like, if you're a developer and you don't know what you're talking about, just shut the fuck up, man. I'll give you a perfect example. I had a discussion with a developer about The Last of Us 2 remake. And I said to him, it's not a ground up rebuild, because you're stripping to the wireframe, you're porting in code, and that happens in every game. Even with ground up rebuilds, they'll port in code, and some of that they'll scrap, some of that they'll keep, but you're porting in code, and then you're building off the assets in the code and your wireframes, as well as porting in assets from The Last of Us 2 and then reskinning them. Like, it's not a ground up rebuild. He didn't have an argument. I got dogpiled for days. It was hilarious. I didn't respond. And then I later on spoke to a developer who worked on that game. And he said, yeah, you're right, but we still consider that a ground up rebuild. So, like, a lot of these times, developers will talk out their ass. Just because someone's a developer doesn't mean they know what they're talking about.
100%.
Let's go. Yeah. Go on, Ashtray, you want to fire off?
Yeah, look, these consoles were built for a purpose. They were built with technology in them. It's not the consoles. All right, I don't know how many times I have to tell people it's not the consoles. It's the games and the way the games are made. Every developer, there's thousands upon thousands of different development teams out there that make games in all different types of ways. They've all got different skill sets, different abilities. The consoles remain the same. There's a reason why you can see games that run perfectly well, or close to perfectly well. I mean, I could bring out, say, Assassin's Creed Valhalla that launched at 1440p 60. It had some frame drops, yeah, but it launched at 1440p 60, right? Other games, Halo Infinite, that had its issues, but they got that running at, I think that up-reses to 4K, so it's not a native, but it runs at 60. Even during co-op, it runs at 60. the machines are capable of doing. These games prove it. And, you know, again, just exactly like Riskit said, is that Dying Light 2 and many, many other games that have come out and launched poorly or at 30 have been patched and run at 60. Where console gamers, we like to have visuals and we like to have frame rates, but I think majority of us, and you know, we all differ, but I think the majority of us will prefer 60 over 4K. And to drop the resolution isn't a big deal because your TVs help up-res and stuff anyway. So that's not the problem. But the consoles are not the problem. The Series S is not a bottleneck. It's got an NVMe drive. It's got RDNA 2. It's not the problem. That was purpose built. It's going to run at a lower resolution than the Series X because it was designed to be a cheaper model. It's the games, it's the developments, it's the way they put. Yeah. Is it CPU heavy? Is it GPU heavy? Do they need it? They need to learn to balance these things out. They need to work with the machines. The machines are built. They're not going to fluctuate. They're not going to change. PC will. So that's why they can get away with making games for PC and then essentially just have a whole lot of sliders and things that they can change it based on your rig setup. The problem is that these consoles are set. They're set in stone. You can't change them. And so they have to then find a way to optimize it for the console. And they obviously either don't have experience doing it or don't want to or don't have the time or resources. There's a lot of reasons why. But it's not the consoles. I'll always keep coming back to that. It is not the consoles. They are more than capable of what they're pushing out now. And we haven't even seen the beginning of it yet.
And this takes us nicely on to our last topic, which is Gotham Knights is getting a larger patched improved performance. So the devs have come out and said they're patching it.
Say it ain't so.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this game was a last-gen game. It should have remained a last-gen game. I think they've just said it's next-gen, just so they can claim that the extra $10 on each game sold. You know, instead of selling it for 60, now they can sell it for 70 and just make that extra bit of cash. That's the only reason I think they made out it was an next-gen game. Because by all sort of means and looking at it, it doesn't look like a next-gen title. It doesn't look like it's created specifically for next-gen at all.
I think they could get it to run on last-gen, dude. That's why I don't think it's there.
Exactly.
110%. I don't think they can get it to run. Like right. This thing is it's not a beast of a game to look at. It's not a beast of a game to play, but it's a beast of a game in the back end.
Yep.
It's maxing out like 4090s and your top end CPUs as well. Like, well, it's not maxing. That's the thing. It's not actually maxing out the GPUs at all. Like it's barely even touching the GPUs. The GPUs are like asleep while you play this game. It's not at all GPU heavy. Digital Foundry did a real awesome breakdown of it, and it's just. They haven't even really lent into the GPU, and you can balance things, and a lot of times, I don't know if people know this, like if you get a PC and your CPU is maxed out, a good way to take some load off your CPU is to max your GPU settings out. So up it to 4K and throw some other stuff on there, like when it comes to visuals, like ambient occlusion and all that sort of stuff, to take the pressure off your CPU. That's what you could do as a player. I'm not a dev, so I don't know, but I imagine if they could push some of that the performance issues over to the GPU to take some of the pressure off the CPU. But the other thing that's crazy is they're not even maxed out the CPU. Like it does max out the CPU, but it's not using every core efficiently. So it's 100% optimization. Like, you've got one core that's running at 70, another core that's running at 27%. Like, it's inefficient. It's unbelievable how poorly this game was made. So yeah, man.
So as Tryhard said, Batman Arkham Knights runs and looks better than this game, and that's like a 7-year-old game.
And that was at 900p.
Yeah, and it's just and it still looks graphically better and performs better. It's more stable than this game. So I think it's just really sloppy dev work. I think they've just rushed this game out because wasn't they working on 3 games and they cancelled a couple and all, didn't they?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? So it doesn't seem like maybe it was the full focus. And then they've cancelled those games and they've made it their focus, and then they've kind of just like thrown it all together. I think there should be a new rule out there. If the game doesn't run at a minimum 60 FPS, you can't charge $70 for it, because that's bullshit.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
You know what I mean?
I would take that. Yeah.
If it runs at 30, even if it's got ray tracing and all that, it's still $60. Yeah. Unless it runs at 60. You can't charge 70.
Yeah.
But here you go, right? So they're releasing a big patch now. It's not, apparently it's still not going to be running at 60, but it's going to be a stable 30. That's what they're saying anyway. Is that good enough?
That's what they're working. That's what they're working towards. No, not good enough. That's the thing. Like, I've kind of some games, it's very limited to the games that are like 30 FPS is okay. It's not great. You'd always want more than that, but some games it's okay for it. Kind of works with, and it's fine. It's not the preference. So, like, yeah, I guess 60 FPS is never okay. Don't get me wrong, but for instance, Plague Tale, it's so slow that you really don't feel it too often that it's 30 FPS. What other game did I play? It's not just frame rate though. It's also frame pacing and how well optimized it is to how hard you're going to feel 30 FPS, because there's 30 FPS and then there's 30 FPS. So Plague Tale is probably a shit 30 FPS as well, right? And you do feel it. But if you play, say, like Mafia Definitive Edition, I actually thought it was 60. It was so well done. Like, I genuinely thought I was playing a 60 FPS game. I know that's like a weird thing to say.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, that feeling that because it's just smooth. The animations are so smooth and it's clear that you don't have all that blurriness that kind of helps make it look. I know what you mean. Yeah, I've experienced that kind of thing before. But these even a Plague Tale Requiem. That can run at 60 on console. I'm convinced it can.
Oh, yeah.
It just needs time to have a patch or something done for it.
I don't think D-Batch thinks it can, though.
Oh, look, I don't know. Look, the thing is that we're happy for it to drop from 4K or whatever down to 1440p. Or even lower than that to get 60. Well, I am anyway. I'm going to speak for myself and say I'm happy for it to be 1080p if need be for a game to run at 60, because I'd prefer frames over resolution, because graphics and resolution are two different things, and that's the other thing that people got to remember. Case in point, Batman Arkham Knight, that was only 900p, and look how stunning that looks. So again, graphics and resolution are two different things. So I still take 1080p. I prefer higher, of course. Don't get me wrong, but to get 60, I'll take any resolution as long as I can get 60. That's my main.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at Guardians of the Galaxy. That was 1080p, and there was a huge uproar about that. Everyone was like, "Oh!" But look, like it looked good. It looked amazing. I don't think it works for every game, dude. Though I'm case by case. So I'm like case by case. Some games I think need to be, at upscaled 4K or whatever, and most games need to be 60 frames per second. But I agree with what you're saying. Like, hey, if it's not got 60 frames a second, then it's not next gen. I would agree with that. I think we were told it was going to be about resolution going into the, from the companies. It was all about the resolution. Hey, this can do 8K. Yeah. I mean, it literally says 8K on the PS5 box. I'm looking at it now. And then it says 4K 120. This is what we were told, right? That it was mostly going to be resolution, but it's mostly been frames. And I think everyone's mostly been happy with that. I've been happy with 60 frames a second. It makes a huge fucking difference. So I don't even know why developers think that this is the design choice that's going to be accepted and that no one's going to say anything about it. And you know what? I tell you this right now, it's permeated what the hardcore fan base thinks about a game permeates out to the casuals. It really does. I was in EB Games. If you guys are in America, that's
GameStop.
GameStop, yeah. I was talking to the girls in there, and one of them's like quite knowledgeable. Normally, you get in there and they don't know what the hell's going on, but this chick's actually quite knowledgeable. She's cool to talk to, and she knows what's happening in the industry. Like she watches Digital Foundry videos, all that sort of stuff. And I was talking to her about the sales of Gotham Knights, and they haven't been there. Like she's like, yeah, it's not been good. She's like the occasional one. She can't. It's the thing. They are a kind of. I think they're under NDAs to whether they can talk about exact, specifics on sales. But it was pretty blaringly obvious it's not selling. And that would be based wholly and solely on the fact that it's had really bad press around being a 30 FPS game. So if that's a design choice, it's a bad one. Because what you did was you hurt your game. You hurt it badly. And secondly, as a developer, if you're bringing out a 30 FPS game, this is just the sidebar. Like, shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah, right.
Tell everyone that. Because all you do is just tank the sales for your game. So many people cancel their pre-order. If that chick still got a job, I would be pretty surprised. Yeah.
No, you're right. Like, shut up about it and let people play it, and then let it go from there. But that's right. It's caused outrage before the game even launched, and you don't want that. You wouldn't want that for a game. That's the worst thing you can do. I mean, Saints Row released recently, and that was more for its buggy mess and all that kind of stuff. I returned mine because I hated it, the way it played. But when I took it back, I said to the guys at EB, a lot of people bringing this game back, and they said, yeah, we've had quite a few returns, and that's just one store. So if the game doesn't hold up, gameplay wise, frame rate rise, whatever it might be, people don't care anymore. They will take it back. They will get a refund. And it's super easy to get a refund through the Microsoft Store as well. If you've only played it for a couple of hours and you don't like it, it's so easy to get a refund. They pretty much don't ask you any questions. You just refund it straight up. So people want a product. They want a quality product. Games aren't cheap. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 cost me $109 Australian. And that's just for the standard edition. It's like $150, I think, for the other edition. Yeah. So it's not cheap.
$159.
Yeah. Oh, there you go, $160. So it's it's not everyone's going to play a game and just cop it, because it's a lot of money. So we will return it. We will get refunds. And we do want certain things, and one of the main things is 60 FPS. We've gone and done the 4K. We've done the 30 forever. We want 60 FPS. And I know some people out there are happy with 30, and good on you, and congratulations for that. But a lot of gamers like myself, we want 60 or nothing. So I won't touch this game until it's 60, and if it never gets 60, I'll probably never touch it. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'll get it on sale, 110%. I'll get it physical, like on a deal, in the bargain bin if it doesn't come to Game Pass, because this is a big call, but I'm almost 100% that game's coming to Game Pass.
It kind of needs to.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that that some, like, it's kind of a failure bin sometimes. With big AAAs, like big AAA is like, no, we're not going to Game Pass, we rely on sales. Holy shit, we didn't get any sales. Hey, Microsoft, Xbox, what will you pay us to put this in Game Pass? I do love it, because then you get the game. I'm not taking the piss out of Game Pass, guys. I would never do that.
No, but it serves a purpose, right?
It does. It does. It helps the developers. But developers have put themselves in a bit of a situation. Well, not developers. They haven't. Publishers have. By raising the price, and what have we heard this whole generation? It's quality games, because we got quality games. I'll pay $150, quality games. Well, like, that's the thing. Like, not every third party, like all the publishers are jumping on board with it, and it seems that Microsoft might too. Tune into my show later live where we talk about it. But like, sorry, it's a shameless plug.
Nah, fair, cool.
And publishers have put themselves in a like a situation where, you're paying $70 for quality games. So exactly like you said, if you are paying that extra, you want the extra. If you're paying extra for nothing, like, the fuck are we paying extra for, right? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
And if you're I think they should all be put on notice, man. Like, this sort of stuff should have put them on notice. We've had some really weird things happen this generation where, like, developers have, like, really, I mean, even 343, have really just, didn't stick the landing because they just, I don't know, had weird directions or made weird design choices, weird decisions. And I think everyone should be on notice at this point that gamers are like, nah, not this generation, bud. If your game doesn't come out with specific sets of things, you ain't going to sell it. And no one's going to talk about it. And if they do talk about it, it'll be negatively. So you best put your best foot forward if you're going to charge 70.
Indeed. I mean, back in the day, when I'm going back to the 80s, 90s, console gaming was a lot different, obviously, but games ran at 60. They all did. It wasn't up until they started building out these 3D worlds and stuff that they dropped the resolution down to frames down to 30 to compensate. And look, I understand that, right? Sometimes you got to take a step or two back to go forward, but we're at a point where some games in that can do 240 frames, etc., etc. So there's 60 has got to be the bare minimum. Nothing, in my opinion, should exist at 30. In this day and age, we're in 2022, nearly 2023. Nothing should be 30 anymore, at all.
That's right. It's broadband gaming. It's not dial-up gaming.
Yep. So, look, that's just my opinion on it. Each to their own, obviously. Elite doesn't play any games to even know what frames per second is.
Yeah, I played Scorn and Persona 5, and I'm playing Mad Max tonight, actually, which I think they got a 60 frame boost, didn't it?
Yeah, it's on FPS boost.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think they need to do away with the games being 70 just because of next gen consoles only. I don't think a game should be classed as next gen only just because it's on next gen games.
Consoles,
consoles. Yeah, I think it doesn't work like that. I think there needs to be a standard for it to be classed as a $70 next gen game, and I don't think any of the games released yet have met that standard. I don't think any game should be 70 yet. So.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I 100% agree. You know what? Just going further, I think I've had this conversation with like a couple of different people. Is that it's weird that the games, they're not all created equal, right? Every game is not as good as another game, so each game should be priced differently. Why do they all just come out at 70? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there should be some sort of standard. Hey, my game is 20 hours long. It's got 4K graphics, 60 FPS, a great story, and a lot of production value. Whatever, you know, I'm talking about a PlayStation game here, right? Like it's so okay, 70. Okay, if that's the standard, that's the standard. Or hey, like my game's got like a really fleshed out multiplayer, great graphics, first party AAA game, runs at 60 and does everything right. Okay, 70. I get it. Like, I know what you're saying, Elite. Like, we haven't seen them yet. But if they're setting the standard, like, set the standard, man. Like, don't back and forth. Oh, this one's going to be 30 because we couldn't optimize it properly. Or this one's going to be, running at an unlocked frame rate and it's going to be absolutely terrible performance. Like, just have a standard. And I think the standard it really is 60 frames a second. I mean, look at God of War. God of War's coming out with all the performance modes. What we've been getting is the standard. Like we've come to expect it. Like, hey, there's a graphics mode and there's a performance mode, and that's the minimum we'll get for these consoles. And the performance mode will be at 60. So yeah, I think you guys are absolutely right.
Yeah, I don't think we'll reach that next gen standard until games like Hellblade 2 drop. I don't think. So
that game better run at 60 though, otherwise I won't be happy.
Yeah.
Well, you know that the cinematic was running at 24 frames a second.
Yeah, I know, and that worries me. But they've still got time to optimize it and stuff. And to be completely honest, and I could be way off here, but my assumption, my guess, and why Starfield was delayed is to make it a 60 frames mode.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
I hope so, because they were talking like they loved. I mean, at the time, I know that thing is old, and like it's funny how old stuff like that comes back up. It's like, oh, he said this. Yeah, man, a year ago. But like it is. When I thought at the time, I was like, oh, I don't know, dude. Like, You know, that's kind of interesting that the guy who's running the studio preferences 30 frames a second over 60.
And then I reckon he got a phone call from Phil, and he said, "You need to make a 60 mode, make it happen."
Yeah, I would if I was Phil.
That date was set in stone, man, and they would have only pushed it for a hardcore reason. Either it's got massive bugging issues, or they were told to make a 60 frames mode.
Yeah.
And I reckon they were told to make a 60 frames mode because it was probably going to come out in 30. That's Hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't care, but I that's my gut feeling on it.
Yeah, and it's not as I agree with the developer. It's probably not. I'm not a developer, but like I think it would be a hell of a lot more complicated than, hey, let's just drop it at 1080 and it should run sweet. I mean, there's obviously going to be other things that affect your CPU, GPU, and that's why we have what they call optimization. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure they just could turn the settings down on Starfield and be like, it's 1080p, runs at 60 now, all good. We'll pump it out. So yeah.
Well, it might be a case that they're forced to use some of we keep hearing tools, quote unquote, of the dev kit to help with that instead of having to drop the resolution dramatically. Maybe they've got to use FSR and DLS and all that sort of shit.
Do not get me started on FSR.
But you know what I mean? Maybe they were told, okay, this is capable of doing it, so use these tools, implement them. You've got 4 months. Go do it. Or 4 extra months.
They'll be one of the first studios to actually implement FSR 2.0 if they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting. I mean, like I said, don't get me started, but you have. Like,
go for it.
Why don't we have it? Like, why do we not have FSR 2.0, 2.1 yet? Like, what is going on? We've had first party games come out, Deathloop, that has FSR 1.0 on both the Xbox and the PlayStation. As we know, the Xbox is the only one that can do at the moment. It's not because PlayStation 5 can't do it. They just haven't gotten it to the point where it can yet. But at the moment, it can't do 2.0. And Deathloop is running with FSR 1.0. We know if you have FSR 1.0, it can take up to 2 weeks. Not 2 weeks. It takes up to 2 weeks. Could be less for a small team to switch that over to FSR 2.0 to give you an extra 20 frames per second. Like, you might lose a little bit of fidelity in your particle effects or whatever, like, which is fine. An extra 20 frames per second is a huge, huge bump. And most of your res will be at 4K as well. Like, it's upscaled, right?
Yep.
But it looks like 4K to the naked eye. So you may as well call it 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it not? No one can give me a good enough reason as to why it's not implemented yet. I've literally gone through every single reason I could possibly think of. And there's only one. And it's only because of the examples of the games that we have, right? Are third party or first party that have been on PlayStation or have some sort of a deal with PlayStation. Really interesting. I'm not saying that it's a parity clause. I'm just saying I can't think of a better reason. So if anyone else out there can think of a better reason as to why we don't have FSR 2.0 yet, I'll tell you what, if they release the first party game, if it's Redfall and Redfall comes out with FSR 2.0, you will know it's a parity clause. Like, it is. It will be. Because
yeah. I like the way you're thinking on that one because it's quite possible. I mean, we've seen the different deals and that Sony has struck with third-party developers. You know, the no Game Pass clause and all that kind of stuff. I would not put it past them. So yeah, I'm open to that idea.
They also said it in the CMA. Some of those CMA reports was PlayStation complained about how Xbox would be able to leverage the more powerful hardware to do things that the PlayStation 5 couldn't. And they said that they could do. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 could give you an extra 20 frames. I mean, it's pretty solid as it is. It doesn't need to, but it's not using FSR 2.0. It's using FSR 1. It's really weird. If you have like the best available to you and it doesn't take you any extra work to implement it, why wouldn't you? It's really weird.
It really is, yeah. Yeah, no, fair enough. Oh, well, comments down below in the chat. I'd like to hear your take on that. Do you agree with Risk It or don't you? Spicy. Elite.
That was our last topic as well.
It was our last topic. Indeed.
So
Well,
we're done.
it's been a whirlwind. It's gone pretty quick, actually. Just over an hour and a half.
It's almost if
that's
you've
the
got-
perfect timing.
Yeah.
You want to hit
It
that
is.
mark.
Perfect.
Yeah, the sweet spot, the cherry.
The cherry.
Just, just pick that cherry.
Elite.
But it's because we haven't got Panda here to sort of drag out each subject by an extra hour. But yeah, it's been great. Enjoyed it here, Brisket. You love it here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, thanks. Yeah.
You had to get up at 5 a.m. to jump on, but
Yeah.
oh well. A couple of coffees, you'll be right.
Yeah, I need another one. I actually got up at 4:30.
Damn.
But I just, I kind of had enough time to have a coffee, unfuck myself, and make it to the show. So, and I had a good time, and I really appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks for the invite.
No, definitely get you back. It's great.
Chat's been awesome as well. You guys have been great. It's a pity that Panda's not here. Man, someone needs to send us some Panadol and a mouth guard.
Fisherman's friends.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah, well, thank you for the chat. Thank you all because we've got Grey Managers joining us now. Thank you all for joining us again. I think we'll sign off then.
Well, but
Jump over to Risket's channel in 1 hour now. How long till it starts?
Yeah, we'll be going live in an hour and 20 minutes. An hour and 20.
Jump over to there when you can.
yeah, so 11 a.m. Australian Eastern time.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's right here in the chat. If you want to find it without any effort at all, just click on that link. It'll take you straight over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for having us on the show, guys. It's amazing. I had a great time. Always have a great time talking to you, Ash. And Elite, I haven't actually got a chance to speak directly to you, other than speaking to you through the chat when I'm actually awake for you guys' show.
I've got a headset now,
it's
and I'm going to start joining your parties and games now. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen you. We added each other as friends, but yeah, jump in any time, dude. It's a weird time difference, UK though.
Yeah.
Guys are just waking up as we're going to bed. Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you for the chat. And remember to drop a sub to everyone, including myself and the panel. Drop the subs, drop the likes, and thank you all for watching. And goodbye for now.
And goodbye from now.
Cold Eastwood.
This is Colt Eastwood. Welcome to the XNC podcast.